Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to That Game Rules, a terrible retro podcast where every week we break down an old video game and all the pop culture that surrounds it. I'm your co-pilot, Scuba Steve. Thank you for listening, and it's time to kick the tires and light the fires. Today, we're talking about the single best kart racing game on the 64 that doesn't have Mario in the title, because that's right, you bunch of animals. It's Diddy Kong Racing Day. I got a ton of cool info on this game, featuring my favorite Kong, bear, and squirrel. Diddy Kong Racing was the sequel to Mario Kart 64 we all wanted. It's just too bad it had a big plumber-shaped shadow to crawl out of. Tons of developer drama, and the divorce and eventual makeup of Nintendo and Rare gives us lots to talk about today. So buckle up, stock up on bananas and balloons, shoot a missile up that tailpipe, and let's get into this show. Every week here we go back in time, we talk about old movies, shows, and toys. Then we're going to get into the game itself. 50% history lesson, 50% walkthrough, 30% nonsense, and like 8% dad jokes. Finally, we'll cross that finish line, give this game some trophies, slap a ranking on it, and hop on your favorite hovercraft and just float on out of here. I love those hovercrafts. It's like let's combine Mario Kart 64, Wave Race, and Pilot Wings, and you get like the freaking Voltron of N64 racers.
Shut up and take my money.
Email the show at thatgamerules@gmail.com. Tell me what games you want to talk about. Nintendo, Sega, Game Boy, Game Gear, anything and everything but those terrible Tiger electronic handhelds. Those can go to hell. Check out thatgamerules.com, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. If you're feeling down, come watch me play terribly at video games, posting clips over there pretty much daily. Guaranteed to make you feel better about your own gaming skills. Come watch me be terrible. What have I been up to? It was Valentine's Day weekend here, and I tell you, it feels great to just not care. If you don't have anyone to celebrate with, just fear not, listener. It's a stupid holiday anyway. Just let me and Diddy be your date this week. Diddy Kong. Let me specify that. Diddy Kong. Do not go on a date with any other Diddies unless you have a large affection for baby oil. The only thing we're lubing up over here at That Game Rules is the wheels on our go-karts. Keep those things spinning nice and smooth. Gaming memories for this. It's an interesting story. I know I've mentioned it before. Like, I have specific memories of this game and Christmas and that childlike anticipation of getting this game, knowing I'm just going to barricade myself in the room for the whole day and just go nuts on that game, on that cute new kart racer. Well, it turns out, based on math, that I was 13 when this game came out, and like in my head memories of it was always this like 8 to 10 kind of little kid age, because at 13 I was starting to be like a dumb teenager, a jerky teenager. So I don't know. It just goes to show that even as you mature, even now as an adult, you can still have that like childlike feeling and affection for these games. Like even at 40 plus years old, it could just make us feel like kids again. So let's journey back, listeners, to the 90s. Airwalks, Jinkos, and chain wallets just ruined the barren landscape. Let's time warp.
Have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Welcome back. However you got here, guys, the DeLorean, the TARDIS, Stargate, the Time Turner from Harry Potter, maybe the hot tub from Hot Tub Time Machine, or the phone booth from Bill and Ted. However you got here, welcome back to 1997. We got a nice ad for you this week featuring Bop It. It's just a giant early version of these ever popular fidgets us humans just have now in today's culture.
Hey, wanna play a game that's really challenging?
Like what?
Like Bop It! It commands, you obey!
Bop it.
Twist it. Pull it.
Come on. Man, that looks easy.
Half it. Sure, it looks easy, but it's not!
Whoa, it's getting faster.
If you can't keep up, you lose!
You blew it. My turn.
Once you get your hands on Bop It, you're not gonna want to stop it! Fast-talking electronic Bop It! Battery's not included.
The batteries were never included. The Bop It, following a series of commands issued through voice recordings produced by a speaker, the toy has multiple inputs including pressable buttons, pull handles, twisting cranks, spinnable wheels, and flickable switches. As the player progresses, the pace of the game increases. Like I said, it's like the original fidget spinner, like an extreme version of Simon Says. And if you wonder why like my entire generation has a crippling anxiety issue, it's the games like these. This is like the Sonic running out of breath noise brought to real life. Does that trigger anything else for some of you? Here's some info from Wikipedia. I have no idea what it means, but it goes to show you that you should never trust Wikipedia for info, or me for that matter. So here it is, word for word. Bop It has been identified as some of the more popular children's games on the market, and toy and game development researchers have pointed to the natural interactions between player and toy, and the ability of players to use the toy to revert computer gaming processes back into those that resemble non-mediated object play. Other studies have shown that it is the Bop It's ability to mimic engagement and social behavior that has led to its commercial success. What the hell are you talking about? That is some deep Bop It analysis for this toy that we were just throwing at each other and smacking around. But anyway, thank you, Bop It. Let's move into the movies of the late 90s. We're hitting their stride when it comes to space disaster movies. Armageddon, Independence Day, Mars Attacks, Apollo 13, and Michael, that John Travolta movie where he's like an angel. And they kind of come from space, and the movie was a disaster, so that fits. But let's highlight the best dang space drama of them all. We're going to talk about Space Jam. Starring Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan. We got Wayne Knight in there. Bill Murray's up in there too. Synopsis: in a desperate attempt to win a basketball match and earn their freedom, the Looney Tunes seek the aid of retired basketball champion Michael Jordan. And we got all our Looney Tune favorites in there. Elmer Fudd, Daffy, Tasmanian Devil, Marvin the Martian, Porky Pig, Tweety, Sylvester, Yosemite Sam, Foghorn Leghorn, Pepe Le Pew, and the debut of Lola Bunny herself. And of course, I was crushing on her. She's no Jessica Rabbit, though. I pulled up the trailer for this one, and it's got that guy from the 90s, the movie trailer voice guy. It almost sounds fake listening to this trailer.
When the world's greatest athlete, Michael Jordan, teams up with the world's best-loved cartoon character, Bugs Bunny, you won't believe your eyes.
Whoa! I don't play defense.
Warner Brothers presents Jordan,
Bugs
Bunny.
Special delivery!
Together, they just might save the world. Space Jam. You've never seen anything like it.
Mwah!
Man, I tell you, movie trailer voice guy, he's got a long career out there. I miss those trailers. Now they just give you the whole damn movie in 3 minutes. Let's talk a little trivia. Back in the late 1980s, Disney Studios asked Warner Brothers if they could use some of the Looney Tune characters for the Disney film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Warner Brothers obliged, and we're in the belief that there was a reciprocal gentleman's agreement, a vague handshake, if you will, which there was, but under the old Disney management who were long gone by the time Space Jam started production. So, when Warner Brothers started working on this film, they went to Disney to ask them to return the favor, maybe let them use a few Disney cartoon characters. They mainly wanted Mickey Mouse to be originally was going to be the match referee. And that would have been kind of neat, a little background. But Disney being Disney went back on their agreement, a move which annoyed but didn't entirely surprise Warner Brothers. And this explains some of the not so subtle digs at Disney within this film. Speaking of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Bill Murray accepted this role in this movie after expressing regret at missing out on a chance to star in the animated live-action film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So he ended up coming to this because he didn't do Roger Rabbit. And then the US VHS release included a collector's coin inside the package that had the Toon Squad on one side and the Monstars on the other. I checked eBay on that. Nothing crazy. Your sealed VHS with the coins going for like $25. Some rando on the internet, of course, has one marked up to like $2,000, but no bids or anything. eBay just sucks now, like so bad. And the whole Disney VHS thing where all these people, it's like an urban legend where suddenly people think these things are worth money, and they're not. But shout out to VHSs. They'd hook it up sometimes, like a prize in a cereal box. Let's check out some TV shows. We're going to talk late 90s. Again, me being a teenager, I wasn't watching the kiddie cartoons, but I was watching some weird stuff. We had Johnny Quest, Power Rangers Zeo. Like I said, not my Power Rangers. I was pretty much only on the original series there. But speaking of Power Rangers and their producers, they had another show that some of us weirdos might have been watching.
3 typical average kids inside a haunted mansion. Just by chance, Frida Ghost, who made them Beetleborgs. Big bad Beetleborgs. Big bad Beetleborgs. Hey, look now, they're superheroes armed with superpowers. Taken from a comic strip, and now they're Beetleborgs. Big bad Beetleborgs. Big bad Beetleborgs.
There's a deep cut for all you Beetleborg fans out there. Also around that time, we had Beast Wars, Blue's Clues. There's a little kid show for you. A shout out to Steve, the original. He's like a cool dude in real life. Like, I think I listened to like a TED Talk on him or something. He carries around his Steve outfit, his sweater and stuff from Blue's Clues, like in his car. Like, in case he comes across a kid. I think the story he ended up at some kid's Blue's Clues birthday party. He, like, parked down the road, but had his outfit, so he put it on. Like, he saw the Blue's Clues stuff in the yard and went and joined. Anyway, he just seems like a cool guy. Nickelodeon looks like they screwed him over. I think they essentially fired him because he was starting to bald. So that sounds like Nickelodeon. Same crap. Sounds like Nickelodeon. Sounds like Disney. All these companies, they're bigwigs. They bug the crap out of me. But also, we can't talk about, some Donkey Kong, some Diddy Kong without bringing up that Donkey Kong country cartoon. I would cue my Sideshow Bob stepping on the rake grumble, but I got to pull that clip, add it to my sound bar. Check out the screenshots of that. That was a 2-season, I think, CG animated nightmare. You want a good CG show? Go check out Reboot. Let's talk about toys. I was just looking at some random Lego sets, and I think my favorite from when I was a kid, I don't know what it's called, but it was like Arctic. It was like a polar. It was like Ice Fortress, Ice Planet, maybe something like that. I could look it up. But it had like the snowmobiles, a lot of orange, like the translucent orange windows for the bases and stuff. Anyway, but it got me thinking about Lego, and I love Lego. It's therapeutic. Like, I love these sets. But does anyone else feel like just the magic of Lego is gone? Even with my little kids, you get these sets, they put them together, but no, they don't seem to play with Lego like they used to. Not like, you've got Minecraft, is essentially virtual Lego. But it's like they make these sets nowadays. They make all these pieces made specifically for a set. And then it's like people buy up all these sets. They hoard them. They even open up their own Lego stores out of their garage with like insane markups on retired sets. And it makes sense because I think Lego is more safe to bet on than the US dollar as far as an investment. But do you remember just like dumping a tub of Lego on the floor and just building just towers and robots and giant spaceships? Because, we go back, when I look at some of these toys and games and I was a kid with not a lot of friends, these things, were my friends. So I wish even like Nintendo and Lego itself just kind of equals my childhood. So I would have been these new Nintendo sets they have out now. If I was a kid, I'd have been all up in those. I don't want anything to do with them now, like the little electronic Mario and stuff. I do like all the other Nintendo sets. I got my Game Boy. I got my NES. I've got, the Star Wars logo one. Anything like Mario and Star Wars I pretty much get into. But it kind of sucks. You just kind of build them, you put them on a shelf, and then they're just kind of done for. But let's circle back around here to the video games. Let's check out Donkey Kong Racing's competition that year on the 64, December 1997. You've got that thick Toys R Us catalog book in your little grubby hands, carrying around that thing like it's a Bible, reading it in the bathroom. Like, what's it going to be? What are you going to circle and hand back to the parents? In this case, we had 3 choices this year of new 64 games. You had Diddy Kong Racing, you had Mischief Makers, and Bomberman 64. With Bomberman 64, the first 3D Bomberman featuring the new one-player platforming adventure mode alongside its classic multiplayer. Then you got Mischief Makers, one of the first 2D platformers on the 64. I gotta check this one out again. I emphasize that. Where's that just kind of sweet 2D platformer on the 64? So I want to check this one out again. It's got quirky characters, has since made its way into cult classic status. And then you got DKR, baby, and I went with DKR that year. Santa followed through. Now let's rip open this present and see what kind of box art we got.
Now, I know you love video games, and I asked the clerk which is the one every boy wants.
You got me. Oh, yeah.
Looking at you, Diddy Kong Racing. Apologize if I call this Donkey Kong Racing at any point. Just words, you know. Diddy Kong Racing, 1997, by Rareware for the N64. A solid kart game on this system. Although technically in the game they're referred to as cars. It's a kart game and so much more. Box art wise, Rare's coming at you hard again with the box art, featuring Diddy Kong in the plane, Tip Top the turtle on the hovercraft, and Timber the tiger racing in the car. We also got Whizpig there, looking very much like last week's Joker boss. Feeling evil, might shoot lasers out of my hands later, I don't know. Rare's cover art was also great because it was exactly what you were about to play. Just big, bright, colorful 3D characters, very much like Banjo's covers. And speaking of Banjo, let's get into the history here. Let's talk about Rare's new characters. 2 of the characters featured in DKR, Banjo the Bear, and Conquer the Squirrel. They were unveiled to the public before Diddy Kong Racing at the June 97 Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3 as we called it. They're not around anymore. But ultimately, it was not released until after Diddy Kong Racing was. So they had these characters, all these games kind of developing at the same time. I think they had Banjo and Conquer like almost done essentially, but then Diddy Kong Racing still came out before that. Rare stated that they chose not to exhibit Diddy Kong Racing at E3 because of the proprietary animation technology used in the game.
It's a secret.
Shut up.
We don't want anybody figuring out our secrets. And so the origin of Banjo and Conquer came from Diddy Kong Racing. Rareware, like then, they were really just having their moment in the spotlight with these N64 games. Rare's best-selling game on the N64 would end up being, what's it going to be? Say it with me. That's right. You know GoldenEye, top of the list up there. It was actually number 3 best-selling game on the entire console, the N64, right behind Mario 64 and Mario Kart 64. Other Rare hits including Killer Instinct Gold, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, DK64, Perfect Dark, and shout out to Jet Force Gemini over there as well. Let's talk about the development not just of a racing game, but of a racing adventure game. Development of the game began after Rare's release of Killer Instinct 2, in which the team was split into making Killer Instinct Gold and a brand new racing game for the 64. During development, the game became influenced by Walt Disney World theme parks themselves, and soon evolved into an adventure game called Wild Cartoon Kingdom, and later Adventure Racers. That game would have allowed the characters to wander around outside of their vehicle in a theme park-inspired hub world. So we're already getting, if you've ever been to like Magic Kingdom, I think that's kind of the vibes they're getting there. So this is where the hub-style world is born, I think. It's like combining Mario Kart with Mario 64's hub style, like a central area with unlockable levels that you actually like drive to. It really gives the game value as a single player. You'll see later, this and the combination of a story and boss fights really sets it apart from Mario Kart 64, even up to the current status of like Mario Kart World. Like, I feel like even Mario Kart World, there's still not as much to do as a one-player game. It's not as venture feeling as like Diddy Kong Racing. And this is a game in 2025. Mario Kart World, me and you, we've got some issues. In June 1997, the game was altered to Pro-Am 64. Does that sound familiar? It's an unrelated follow-up to Rare's classic NES racing game, RC Pro-Am. And shout out to RC Pro-Am 2. That's another late NES sequel. That's a rare one. Literally, not just the company. That one's hard to get. The Pro-Am 64 project had Timber the Tiger as the main character and featured three-wheeled trikes instead of radio-controlled cars. Other characters created for the project included Tip Top the Turtle, Bumper the Badger, Drumstick the Rooster, and in this case, Crash the Crocodile. He'll get changed up later. They also had a character, a kangaroo named Roo, that was planned, but was eventually replaced with Pipsy the Mouse. I'm not sure why. I think a kangaroo. I think I looked into it. It was something about like its gloves, like it was wearing boxing gloves. It wouldn't animate so well, but I think it would have been cute.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
But we've got the crew starting to come together like a cute and furry Fast and Furious movie. But this cute little game in progress is about to get a zipper boost into the spotlight. They were getting really far with another project at the time, Banjo-Kazooie, and realized that that game itself could be right up there with Mario 64 as far as quality and gameplay. So they decided to delay Banjo to put more work into that game. So with Banjo-Kazooie being delayed until the summer of '98, Nintendo was adamant for the release of a AAA video game in time for '97's Christmas season. Nintendo themselves, as they had no games coming out, Mischief Makers and Bomberman 64 being developed by some Japan company I didn't write down. So they had no games going into Christmas. With the change in release schedule, some at Rare felt that Pro-Am 64 did not have strong enough intellectual property, and at the suggestion of the man himself, Shigeru Miyamoto, Rare changed the license to feature Diddy Kong, and it kind of made everybody happy. Rare chose to use Diddy Kong rather than Donkey Kong, and Nintendo, quote, enjoyed the decision. Kind of like with Donkey Kong being Nintendo's creation and Diddy Kong, although owned by Nintendo, being the brainchild of Rare. It's like both parties were happy. And when Donkey Kong Country itself was first being created, Diddy was originally going to be a different version of Donkey Kong Jr., but Nintendo didn't like the design they had for Donkey Kong Jr., so they decided to just go with a new character, Diddy Kong himself being Donkey Kong's nephew. And Diddy's name itself comes from a slang for the word small over in the UK there. That's where Rare was established. So Diddy means small, and now we've got Diddy Kong. And once the IP itself was changed, the team was left to adapt the visual aesthetics of the game and packaging before it could be released. So now we're taking this game and we're making it into this Banjo universe. So they got Crash. He was slightly altered from the crocodile to be a Kremling, and he was renamed Crunch. I don't know why, Crash or Crunch. Oh, I think Crash is the name of an actual Kremling already in Donkey Kong Country games, so they went with Crunch. And of course, the debut of Banjo and Conquer, and the team recalled that the ultimate goal of the game was to make it run as fast as Mario Kart 64, which proved difficult during development. I think they got there, but Mario Kart 64, if you notice, the sprites, they're all 2D. It's like the 2.5 fake 3D, kind of like Doom and stuff, where the things kind of rotate with the camera. Whereas Diddy Kong Racing is using actual 3D polygon characters for their racers, for their karts. But they did manage to get a few shortcuts. If you notice, like the tires on the cars are actual sprites. They're actual 2D sprites that kind of rotate. It's like the hover engine thing on the back of the hover car, probably like the propeller, like those kind of things. So they had a couple of workarounds there to get this game to run. And like I said, I think they did. I think it runs as well as it should. The multiplayer may have a bit more slowdown, but Mario Kart did too. And we didn't play this on multiplayer at all like we were playing Mario Kart. But let's get into the release.
Hey, listen.
Let's talk this Christmas classic. Due to most of N64's planned 97 Christmas season lineup being delayed until 1998, Diddy Kong Racing became the main Nintendo 64 release for the holiday shopping season, and a majority of Nintendo's $200 million advertising budget for the entire year was allocated to promoting this game. Diddy Kong Racing also held the distinction of being the only game in the North American Christmas season lineup for which development was contracted by Nintendo. So like I said, the other two first-party games in the lineup being Bomberman and Mischief Makers, and they were both licensed from Japanese third-party publishers. So it's like no wonder I wanted Diddy Kong Racing that year. I must have seen a lot of commercials. No offense to Bomberman and Mischief Makers, but there was just a lot of promotion for this game, commercials, magazine ads, and even a spot on a promotional VHS. So set your audio to stereo or mono, and let's talk about that soundtrack. The music, Rare just nails that landing, pun intended. The game's soundtrack was composed by David Weiss. The soundtrack first released in Japan had 42 tracks. Before the US release, only 16 tracks were featured on a nice little custom CD. The disc itself was specifically shaped in the form of Diddy Kong's head, which was unplayable in certain CD players. No crap. Like, what a time to be alive. Promotional CDs and VHS tapes, demo discs coming packed in gaming magazines, but you tell me certain CD players couldn't play the monkey-shaped CD? Like, what kind of CD player was playing a CD shaped like that anyway? Like, anti-skip protection was one thing, but come on. The game also features real voice acting, so you know it's not a Nintendo-developed game. We'll talk about that as well. But let's hear another track, and then it's off to the races. I'm going to pick a nice spooky track. That's from the Haunted Village. I got the names. I'll figure it out. It's the Haunted level. I like it. We're going to talk game chat now, and let's talk about the characters in this racing game. There are 10 playable characters in Diddy Kong Racing, with 8 available at the start, 2 being unlockable, and all these characters, except Diddy Kong, debut in this game. Some characters have discrepancies depending on the vehicle they use, as one would expect from a kart game. The heavier characters are slower. You get it. This is the first game to introduce Banjo, Tip Top, and Conker, 3 characters who appear in other Rare games. Banjo, of course, being the main character in Banjo, one of the main characters in Banjo-Kazooie. Don't you dare call Banjo the main character and disrespect my girl Kazooie. Tip Top appearing as a minor character in the sequel Banjo-Tooie, and Conker would appear in Conker's Pocket Tales and would have appeared in 12 Tales Conker 64 until it was reworked into the adult-oriented title Conker's Bad Fur Day, thus avoiding yet another title ending in 64. We've shown Banjo some love on this show. He's got an episode back there somewhere, Banjo-Tooie, and oh yes, a Conker episode will happen because my table's looking a little wobbly here, and I could probably use a squirrel to level it out. Let's start out with the game's original protagonist, Timber the Tiger, inspired by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes mascot, Tony the Tiger's son, Tony Jr., as well as Simba from The Lion King, who was popular at the time. He'll get his own crappy game later. Timber was really supposed to launch an IP for Rareware, like being this whole new Rare kind of character, just like a Mario, like a Sonic, even sporting the Rare logo on his cap to mimic Donkey Kong. He had a Banjo Mario 64 style game that got canned. The actual game they were developing for the GameCube. But yes, it got canceled, that whole Microsoft buying things. But that game they were working on eventually got reworked into their only GameCube game that Rare made, Star Fox Adventures. So it eventually turned into that. We've also got Tip Top the Turtle, whose name was repurposed from a different turtle character in the canceled Project Dream, although that can be debated. Some developers are saying Tip Top originated in this game. Not worth looking too far into. I like Tip Top. We got Drumstick the Rooster, inspired by Foghorn Leghorn and the chickens from the Muppet Show, and unlocking him is kind of neat. He's one of the unlockables. He's just like a frog you run over in the hub world. So kudos to Rare for keeping things a little stupid, a little silly. It doesn't always have to be unlock this and collect that. We've got Pipsy the Mouse. Remember, she's replacing that kangaroo character that would have been. And then, of course, we got Banjo the Bear, Crunch the Kremling, Conquer the Squirrel, Bumper the Badger, and then we got TT the Clock, our second unlockable character, after some time trial stuff, I think. Although his name is supposed to stand for TikTok. So now you know what the two TTs are for, and, the more you know.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
So each character also comes with their own theme music on the player's select screen that kind of matches their personality. It also plays in the main intro, but it's Banjo has these hard banjo riffs. Pipsy's has a steel drum, but it's the same music, but they just kind of change some of the instruments for it. And it's just more details that really brings Rare's games to life. So listen to this clip and listen as the song stays the same, but you'll see it'll switch kind of the tones between moving to different characters. Just more fun details there. Let's talk the controls. All of our standard kart controls here, including drifting, some hopping. We've got new mechanics with new vehicles here. But some of the new additions, we've got the horn and the character voice emote buttons. And then in the plane, you've got things like the somersault and a barrel roll that would make even Fox McCloud jealous. You'll notice the differences in the vehicles immediately. They play really well for what they're supposed to be doing, but there is occasional and or frequent frustration included in there as well. Those hovercrafts will turn on a 90 and then suddenly you're just stopped. So there's a lot, and of course, things like the hovercraft, obviously going faster on the water, also goes faster on sand. A lot of these things coming into play. But let's start with the story itself. Our story begins when Timber the Tiger's parents go on vacation with the Kong family and leave their slightly incompetent son in charge of the island they live on, leaving him and his friends to race for fun. And there's your first problem. Unsupervised minors with race cars. You don't sound like great parents to me. That's my Frosted Flakes dad joke. It sounds more to me like a call to CPS, or maybe in this case like animal control. Their enjoyment is derailed when an evil intergalactic pig named WizPigs arrives at the peaceful Timbers Island and attempts to take over after he conquered his own planet's racetracks.
You son of a bitch.
He turns the four islands' guardians, Tricky the Triceratops, Bluey the Walrus, Bubbler the Octopus, and Smokey the Dragon into his own evil henchmen. The only solution is to defeat WizPig in an elaborate series of races that involve cars, hovercrafts, and airplanes. Drumstick, the best racer on the island, failed this challenge and was transformed into a frog by WizPig's black magic. Can he be rescued as well? Timber sends a letter to his childhood friend Diddy Kong to call for help. Diddy recruits his friends Banjo and Conquer the Squirrel while Timber gathers the remaining inhabitants of the island to help. Together, you must race to unlock the island and stand up to that piece of bacon once and for all. Can you defeat all of WizPig's challenges? Spoiler alert, I can't. But let's talk about gameplay. It's more than just racing here. Diddy Kong Racing features 3 different vehicle types for different terrain, cars for land, hovercrafts for water and land, and then planes strictly for air. Each character and vehicle has different strengths and weaknesses, sometimes in combination. For example, Crunch normally has low steering, but his steering is higher in a hovercraft due to that vehicle's emphasis on weight. So it's not just like your heavy class is going to go slower. It's like your heavy class will handle well in the hovercraft because it's heavier and it's keeping them down. So it's like it really does mess with that formula of Mario Kart itself. And I love the vehicle and the character differences like that. But turns out I always played Tip Top, and apparently he's just like the overall worst racer. So I tend to do that. I tend to pick characters that seem to be the worst. In races, bananas can be picked up to increase speed, not at all like Mario Kart bananas. While weapon balloons provide items to use in the race, no randomization here with the weapons. It adds more technique, more planning. The color of the weapon balloon determines what item it will be, and collecting multiple of the same color and sequence improves the item's effects by up to a total of 3 levels, while collecting a balloon of another color cancels it out, replaces it with a new item. So we got different classes of weapons featuring different vehicle boosts, offense, defense, as well as the ability to upgrade and level up your armor and weapons.
Shut up and take my money.
It's crazy that Mario Kart never pulled some of these ideas into their future games. You've had decades now. It's like they added the awesome 2-player karts in Double Dash, then they just abandoned that idea and just repeated the same game for 20 years. And like, don't get me wrong, like Mario Kart 8 is amazing. All the upgrades, they bring back all the old courses, and they've added every character and course and thing that I can think of in that game. And then they release Mario Kart World, and it's like the kart customization's gone. There's like some levels, like the big open world with just like nothing to do in it. Like, is anybody playing Mario Kart World anymore? Like, I'll go back and play Mario Kart 8. Anyway, let's talk modes. We got adventure mode. It's the main mode of the game. While exploring Timbers Island, the players must find several golden balloons to access various challenges and to defeat Wizpig. There's a total of 5 worlds that can be accessed from the main Timbers Island hub, and each has 4 main racetracks, a trophy championship, a boss track, and aside from the last one, a special battle minigame. Different vehicles are sometimes required for different tracks. We've also got Taj's challenge. Taj is in there. He's like our tutorial guy, the big elephant guy. He's helping us out, telling us what to do. He's our elephant friend and guide. He becomes playable way down the road in like Diddy Kong Racing on the DS. But after the player collects enough golden balloons in adventure mode, Taj will appear, challenge the player to a race in a specific vehicle. You'll get rewarded with more golden balloons that way. Other challenges include like a time trial mode, the silver coin challenge, trophy races, keys to find to unlock even more secrets. Some of these things are like crazy hard to do, like adding a lot of replay value if you really like to beat yourself up on these courses. And if you're trying to 100% this game, you have got a big hill to climb. But now you know.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
When the first 4 worlds are completed, the carving of Wizpig's head on the mountainside opens and allows your racers to take on Wizpig. After beating him, the group has a party along the beach. However, Wizpig interferes in the party before a spaceship arrives and takes him into space. The lighthouse on the beach transforms into a rocket ship that takes the team to future Funland. Rare, you love a good twist ending. Like, I couldn't beat Wizpig as a kid the first race to begin with. I thought that was just end game. I made it to the end. Wizpig's too hard. I'll keep collecting silver coins. But nope, there's a whole nother course, just like Banjo-Kazooie. You think the game's, at least in this one, you don't have to sit through the credits before you realize there's a whole nother level you got to do. But let's keep talking levels. Diddy Kong Racing contains 20 total racetracks, as well as those 5 separate challenge levels. In adventure mode, players can access them by driving to specific areas marked with large doors, just like Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie, requiring a set amount of golden balloons to access them. In track mode, racers are able to choose what type of vehicle to bring into the race if available, which can affect the pass and the course they are able to take. Like, having multiple paths in the levels for different vehicles, it's like really cool. Like, you can see it even as you're racing the car. You see all the plane zippers and stuff up in the sky. Like, it'd be cool if you could combine it, have some race the cars, some race the planes. You can't, but down the road maybe. But Rare's really putting in the work here. Point in case, it's got freaking voice acting. Like, it's 2026 now, and Nintendo is still heavy on the subtitles, light on the voices. Unfortunately, it's not quite as on par with the voice acting from Banjo-Kazooie itself. classic stuff. Well, let's get into these levels and courses, starting out with Dino Domain, featuring Ancient Lake, Fossil Canyon, Jungle Falls, and Hot Top Volcano. And I love that they went with a dinosaur theme instead of just like a straight jungle. And it has that chaos element too. It's got the roaming dinosaurs. They can like wreak havoc on your race just out of nowhere. And it's like just like the train level from Mario Kart 64. I love a good wrench in the mix. It's why I love Chance Time and Mario Party and bonus stars. All you bonus stars haters, you can go kick dirt. The boss in this one, Tricky the Triceratops, of all the bosses, and besides the silver coin stuff, we'll talk main racing these tracks here. This was the toughest one I had of all the first kind of 4 bosses, was the Triceratops. He's the boss of Dino Domain, where he challenges the player to a race up a spiral mountain. He also later appears in the Star Fox series in Star Fox Adventures and is featured in future games of that series. Master the zippers, avoid the obstacles, stock up on some of those upgradable items.
Forget about the badge! When do we get the freaking guns?
Well, let's talk about it. You don't get any guns in this game, but we do get some missiles. Let's talk about these items. You got your red balloons. That's your missile. You can collect, again, up to 3. So your missile, you're going to have 1 missile. Your next upgrade is the homing missile. And your third upgrade is the 10 missiles. And that can be frustrating if you're trying to hold on to a homing missile. And now you have to fire off 10 non-homing missiles. But if used properly, you might find it to be a lot of fun, especially that homing missile on some of these boss fights. We got the blue balloons. Those are going to give you your boosts in 3 sections, 3 upgrades of boost. A smaller one, your medium, and your large. I think it goes orange, blue, and purple. Also, you got a secret green boost. They'll give you some tips. Taj will as you're playing the game. One of those tips is the secret green boost. When driving over the zipper marks, you have to let off of the accelerator, and you'll get an extra special boost there. And that becomes clutch when you go to defeat the big pig himself. We also got green balloons. Those are your defense. Your first one's going to be an oil slick. The next one is an explosive mine. And then the next one is the bubble. And that one's like the worst. You release just a big sonic air bubble looking thing. It traps the player, and you just float up in the sky as you're watching all your opponents race by you. We've also got the rainbow balloons. Those ones get kind of weird. Those are the magnets. Your first magnet will pull you closer to the player in front of you, but as they upgrade, I think your green magnet, that pulls a player back to you. As far as like someone being ahead of you, it'll yank them back. Then we got the yellow balloons. Those are defense. Shields all do the same thing. They protect you from weapons and hazards, and they cause players who hit you to lose control, kind of like your 3 shells in Mario Kart or something. The difference being with the 3 shield levels is that each one just lasts slightly longer. Also collecting in this game, the bananas. Like I said, you collect bananas during the race to just increase your top speed. You lose them if you hit a hazard. They're not essential to winning, but they give you just that noticeable edge. So you can collect up to 10 and your cart or your vehicle will just go significantly faster. You've also got keys hiding around. There's one hidden key in each world that will enable you to unlock the tournament. If that's what you want to call them, hidden keys. It's weird because one of the, quote, hidden keys is just right there in front of you in the dino level. But then one of the hidden keys later in the game, you have to raise a bridge, turn around, drive backwards up a ramp. So it's like it goes from nothing to insanely hard to find. But those will open up your locked levels that then access kind of you got to do the battle maps as far as against the computer as part of this game too, your kind of multiplayer stuff. But next level, we're flying our way into Snowflake Mountain. And again, with these worlds, they can be accessed if you banked a bunch of balloons in Dino Domain. You have enough then to move to Snowflake Mountain or Sherbert Island. It's kind of your choice, kind of that open world. But we're at Snowflake Mountain. Our winter themes here: Everfrost Peak, Walrus Cove, Snowball Valley, and Frosty Village. And I just love Rare games, especially just lean hard on that like Christmas in their winter levels. Nintendo shies away from that holiday stuff. And honestly, Christmas is not real big in Japan as far as Nintendo shying away from anything religious, in this case, Christianity. But Rare always leans hard into it. Christmas lights, candy canes, presents, stockings, Christmas trees, all the holiday feels to make you feel cozy until a big fat walrus ruins it all. And if it's not the penguins, it's the freaking walruses.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Bluey the Walrus, he's the boss here in Snowflake Valley. He challenges the player to a race down a mountain, more reminiscent of like a banjo boss than like a Donkey Kong Country boss. But plenty of Donkey Kong Country love in this game itself. The introduction to the story found in the instruction booklet has an opening on Donkey Kong Island. We've got Squawks mentioned in the instruction manual a few times. And again, Diddy's character selects theme is an arrangement of DK Island Swing. Any excuse to get any of the Donkey Kong Country tracks into any game I play. It really is hard to say if Donkey Kong Country isn't just my favorite soundtrack ever. Too bad I don't have a cool Donkey Kong shaped CD to go play it on right now. Let's move on to Sherbert Island, featuring Whale Bay, Pirate Lagoon, Crescent Island, and Treasure Caves, racing through pirate ships, bouncing around in the water, wave race style. Nintendo does some tropical themes very well, and the 64 can really pull off like the bright open ocean vibe. Like, also features a really cool shortcut where you have to like ramp off a whale. There's a lot of this stuff going on, a lot of riding on pirate ships. Tons of shortcuts in the game itself, way more than Mario Kart 64. But also, unlike Mario 64, we've got another big annoying boss to deal with. Bubbler the Octopus is the boss of Sherbert Island. He challenges the players to a race around an island track while laying traps, dropping deep sea mines on you and stuff. They can mess you up big time. But should you get stuck, the thing about these bosses too, besides like Tricky the Triceratops, who just kind of runs fast, and the Walrus, I guess, but between Bubbler and the Dragon, they're like dropping stuff. But as soon as you get ahead of them, then none of that really matters. But in rare fashion, we've got some cheats, people. And in this game, featuring a magic genie, we've got some magic codes to go over.
It's a secret.
Shut up.
So magic codes are the game cheats for this, always accessible in the options menu, and these cheats mostly only alter the tracks mode rather than adventure mode, while some others do like miscellaneous tasks such as allowing players to listen to music in the game. You can just turn on like your own little radio, like GTA style. At the end of the game credits, a random magic code is given to the players, and the codes being pretty descriptive and not your jumble of letters and numbers. Some of the code examples are Arnold, and you put that in, it's large players, obviously named after Schwarzenegger, just like the big head or like the DK mode from GoldenEye. Put in Blabbermouth and it changes the horn sounds into character sounds. Body armor turns all balloons yellow. Bogus Bananas turns the bananas into some Mario Kart classic slow-down bananas. That's the Mario Kart way. Put in Bombs Away and all balloons are red. It's like the slaps-only mode, but with missiles. Bye-bye balloons and all balloons are disabled. You got Double Vision, means multiple players can be the same character. And Joint Venture, really cool. You got some siblings out there or something. A second player can join adventure mode. You'll take turns racing the bosses. So more... Like I always say, when they're like, we got a great game here, let's put in some codes and let these kids just play in this sandbox. And that's what I really like, when you just put in tons of codes. Let's get to our last kind of level here, at least on our main island, Dragon Forest. Featuring here Boulder Canyon, Greenwood Village, Windmill Plains, and Haunted Woods. And featuring my all-time favorite level theme, we got Haunted Stuffs. Greenwood Village looks good. Windmill Plains is what you would expect. You're going to take a chance on those windmills for those zipper boosts, kind of like putt-putt. You got to time it out. Leading up to our boss of this world, Smokey the Dragon, and unlike Smokey the Bear, this guy is trying to light it up like the 4th of July. Smokey is the dragon boss of Sherwood Forest, where he challenges the player to a race around a grassy valley while shooting fireballs. But you did it. You defeated the 4 Guardians, but before you take on Wizpig for round 1, there's still plenty of other stuff for our jungle buddies here to get up to. The challenge levels are unlocked when players find hidden keys in one track of each world. Challenge levels involve players completing tasks in an arena-like map similar to Mario Kart Series Battle Mode. In addition, trophy races are unlocked for each world after the second boss race has been cleared. Trophy races feature harder computer racers than single racers. And I haven't talked about multiplayer much, and that's because nobody played this game with me. So by the time this came around, my friends and I were all teenagers, and it's like the multiplayer stuff is cool and unique from the Mario Kart Battle Modes, but we were all still just getting down on Mario Kart, GoldenEye, Smash Brothers and like the sports games and stuff. I couldn't convince anyone to like play this cute Sesame Street looking game with me. I mean, I loved it, nobody else did. But that's where that adventure mode spoke to me, and those damn boss fights. Which brings us to the pig in the room. Whiz Pig round 1.
You son of a bitch.
And I don't think I ever beat him as a kid. I've only recently learned a lot from replaying and actually researching stuff. There's crazy techniques for each vehicle, including things like letting go of the gas when you hit that zipper for that green boost. But apparently if you like tap the gas in the car instead of holding the button, it goes faster. If you turn left and right in the hovercraft constantly, it makes it go faster. And finally, like the barrel roll in the plane is considered to be like a speed boost. I don't think it was designed that way. Kind of like Ocarina of Time speed runners. They have Link just somersaulting over himself all the way through Hyrule Field because it's faster than running. But because I suck and never beat Wizpig, I never got to experience our final level until recently, Future Funland, and apparently I misspelled that in my notes as Future FU Land, and I'm going to leave it because that works too. We got Space Dust Alley, Dark Moon Caverns, Star City, and Spaceport Alpha, and these levels are stupid fun and pretty challenging. Like, I love the look of them. Like, I feel like the 64 really shines when it doesn't try to look so real. Like the space theme park with its bright green and purples, dark halls and neon lights, like you can't notice the flaws. Everything is just in your face. But when they try to do like trees and dirt and it just looks like a muddy looking flat painted wall, so the crazy levels, it like gives it some camouflage. Besides like the water levels always look good. I think 64 had the good water mechanics, and I think in the water with like a big blue open sky, feels more realistic than some of the more muddy indoor type of scenery that the 64 was putting out back then. But make it through those levels. Again, they're real cool. There's loop-de-loops. There's UFOs shooting stuff at you. But it all leads up to our final battle, Wizpig Part 2, riding on his stupid rocket. Go watch clips of me racing him if you want a good laugh. But after the character completes all the tasks in that world and gets the whole TT amulet, Wizpig can be faced again, racing against him in your plane while he rides a rocket. After winning, Wizpig's rocket short circuits and blasts him into an unknown planet. Once again, the characters celebrate their victory without Wizpig interfering. And with the carving of Wizpig's head on the mountainside turning into a golden carving of Taj's head, you just beat this game. Right before the credits roll, one of the Wizpig's spaceship appears, and Wizpig's laughter is heard, leaving the game on a cliffhanger in classic Rare fashion. The credits end on the text "To be continued," with Diddy Kong Pilot or Donkey Kong Racing, originally intended to serve as a follow-up to the game before they were both canceled. Oh, what's that, listener? You haven't had enough monkey punishment yet? Well, should you unlock your own Diddy Kong Racing badassery, maybe you can unlock Adventure Mode 2, which is like Adventure 2 is played the same as standard Adventure Mode, but harder, like insanely harder. The balloons are silver, the tracks are flipped, very similar to Mirror Mode in the Mario Kart series, and the location of the silver coins are all different, often in hard to reach places. It's unlocked by defeating Wizpig at Future Funland in Adventure Mode. Get yourself a hole, just go do it again. It's like, Ghosts and Goblins type of stuff. Beat it once and then just punish yourself again. But before we move on to the legacy of this game and start to talk about some missed sequels, I want to reference those silver coin challenges again. I didn't talk too much about them, but that's like the real meat of the game. You can beat all these races pretty quickly, get your balloons to unlock all the areas, but the point then being you have to then re-race all of them while collecting, I think, 8 silver coins scattered throughout the level, always in the same place, but not always attainable on like one lap. Maybe one will be on the left or the right, but that's where it comes in. You have to collect all 8 of those while winning, and unlike Mario Kart, when you're doing adventure mode, if I didn't say it, you have to get first place every race. There's no point system. There's no Grand Prix type of stuff. So this whole game is constantly like you have to win every race no matter what. And there is a lot of pausing, restarting race, pausing, restarting race. If I clip together all of those in like a 60-second of just 60 instances of me hitting a tree and having to start over. That's a lot of what this game is. A lot of taking breaks, wanting to throw the controller. But let's warp out of here. Let's talk about the legacy here. Sorry, I'm getting sad already talking about canceled sequels and shattered dreams of my childhood. Let's take a look. I just like that sound. Owing to the game's success, numerous attempts at sequels were made. However, each ended up canceled due to Rare's sale to Microsoft in 2002. Among other reasons, Nintendo had a chance, like Blockbuster did with Netflix, to swoop up Rare, probably for a pretty good deal. And like everyone, as Rare was selling themselves, or however that went, everyone at Rare assumed that would be the case, that they were just going to be working for Nintendo, and were surprised when Nintendo turned it down, as well as everybody else. You would think after all those ballin'-ass games, it would be a pretty easy decision to marry these two together. But just like Nintendo walking away from Sony way back in the day, and we'll talk about that more, they had other ideas, I guess. So only Diddy Kong and Crunch, characters originating from the Donkey Kong franchise, are owned by Nintendo, while the rest of the characters, who are wholly original characters created by Rare, are now property of the company Microsoft following its buyout. And because of this, Banjo and Conker would be removed in Diddy Kong Racing DS, replaced by Tiny Kong and Dixie Kong respectively. However, oddly enough, Tip Top still appears in both versions. But they did Timber dirty on the DS version, switched the Rare logo on his cap to a Nintendo DS logo, slapped to the face. Good for Tip Top, though. I like turtles. Okay, first appetizer here on our sadness buffet of canceled sequels is Diddy Kong Pilot. So Rare planned to make a Diddy Kong Pilot based solely around the plane. It was intended to release on the Game Boy Advance, and several Kongs, as well as King K. Rool and Crunch, were set to be playable in the original 2001 iteration, including Dixie, Donkey, Cranky, and Candy Kong. The second iteration in 2003 is based around the rivalry between the Kong family and the Kremlings, but ended up reworked into Banjo Pilot, an indirect sequel to Diddy Kong Racing. So it's like, for this game, it's out there. Banjo Pilot's out there if you want to go play it. The developer, but as far as Diddy Kong Pilot, a developer released like fairly recently a bunch of unfinished test footage, and it looked like GBA Mario Kart with its 2D levels. You weren't quite 3D polygons on the GBA yet. It's more like a mini more like Star Fox looking. But the art looked good. The levels all had like Donkey Kong Country themes and callouts from those games, including collecting the Kong letters. It was trying to make use of like this gyro technology I don't understand, but apparently it was out there. It's all in there nowadays. You rotate the switch, you rotate all these motion in the controllers themselves. But back then, Nintendo was getting crazy. It wasn't in the GBA, but they could put this gyro technology into the kart itself. They would let the player control the plane by tilting like then the actual GBA itself. Apparently tech they already used in Kirby Tilt and Tumble, which I've never played, but that's pretty neat that they can make that technology in a kart to then put the gyro feature into the system. Anyways, Banjo Pilot's a game. It's out there. Apparently not very good. They did rework that game into like the Banjo theme, so you're like collecting honeycombs and music notes. Not as big a disappointment as our next potential sequel, Donkey Kong Racing. Rare and Nintendo always planned to make Donkey Kong Racing for the Nintendo GameCube. However, this game was also canceled, along with Donkey Kong Coconut Crackers in August 2002, 1 month before Rare's move to Microsoft. Very little had been revealed about it, but animal buddies, including some of those like normal enemies from that series, would have replaced the mechanical vehicles, and Taj and Kiddy Kong were supposed to reappear as well. And they actually released like a teaser trailer for this at E3 for the GameCube. It's like a CG video out there. Really cool, but if you want to get sad, go watch it. Features Donkey Kong and friends riding all these familiar animal buddies like Ramble the Rhino and Guard, Bumble even as far as like an enemy, Espresso. Squawks is probably in there doing something annoying, but featuring ideas like swapping rides while racing, upgrading animal buddies, and this one definitely makes me sad. So that's your non-existent Donkey Kong Racing. But our last one here, Diddy Kong Racing Adventure, a different group, the Climax Group. I mean, I get that it's a normal name, but I have the mind of a child. But anyway, they planned a different GameCube sequel featuring new vehicle types and the ability to switch between them during races as well. And the plot itself here was like a big open world. You have to save Donkey Kong Island and the Kong family from a team up as Whizpig. Whizpig comes down. He teams up with King K. Rool, and the pitch ended up being rejected in part due to the due to the conflicts over who held the rights to most of the Diddy Kong. Why do I write down words I can't even pronounce? Why do I put words in my notes I can't pronounce? But they held the rights to Diddy Kong Racing, of course, the rights issue. They were going to bring them all back from this game. It was going to be a straight sequel, racing around Donkey Kong Country themed island, probably have races like the Kremling Factory, probably a cool minecart or coaster track, throw in an underwater driving level if you can include the water level music, almost like Mario Kart World, like open world, hop on your ride and run around hunting for new rides to capture even like a Pokemon Go type of situation. But it never happened, and so begins the sad era of developers buying developers, and the only winners are the shareholders. While no sequel ended up happening, a remake for the DS was released, Diddy Kong Racing DS. Although a remake, it featured more characters, tracks, and some different challenges. Some music had to be changed as well, since they swapped out Banjo and Conker for Dixie and Tiny Kong. But Taj and Whizpig are playable characters, I believe. Eventually, another Donkey Kong-themed racing game was released, the unrelated Donkey Kong Barrel Blast for the Wii. I've never played that one. But so ends the story of Diddy Kong Racing as far as Microsoft is concerned. Like, we all want it on the Switch now. Like, throw in online play. Let Diddy Kong Racing be discovered by the masses all over again. But now that I'm sad about missed sequel opportunities, let's do what we always do to cheer us up, give this game some awards. But first, let's drive through the Reddit comment section.
Aren't you a little old for video games?
That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Let's do all the things that you want to do.
Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss. Need the info.
I've lived in mortal terror that this would happen.
Get on with the ceremony.
I don't think there's a therapist out there recommending a good few hours scrolling the Reddit comment threads. But anyways, it's no BetterHelp sponsor here, folks. The Blue Spirit 20 says, ahead of its time, offering land, water, and sky races, and having a story mode with a map that you can drive around in and race bosses and unlock new areas to explore was something NFS and Midnight Club eventually used as well. It's a better game than Mario Kart 64 and is more challenging as well. The roster just does not have as many recognizable faces as Mario Kart, but that doesn't affect the gameplay or quality of the game. And you said a few things there. It's when it comes to the roster of this game, it is weird like that. It's almost like take the roster from Mario Kart 64. Any of you, I bet you go show it to your mom right now, and she could recognize at least half of those characters, if not all of them. Show them the roster from Diddy Kong Racing, and probably zero. And that's it. So, you know, the recognizable characters and stuff, I mean, comes into nostalgia, comes into play. As far as this game being better than Mario Kart 64, we're going to get into a lot of that with the comments, and a lot of people have their opinions, and I have mine, and we'll keep seeing. We'll see what Megla Donald here says about it. He says the very final boss was so hard. There was exactly one part of the track where you had the correct line of sight for a missile hit, and you needed to land that shot perfectly in each of the 3 laps. At least that's what I remember. And I remembered, like, strategy with these was... It was like strategies with the weapons was such a part of this game as opposed to just the randomness of Mario Kart. And again, you don't have boss fights in Mario Kart to try to train and plan for, but it was like that. There were spots where it was like you're holding a homing missile. Maybe you've only got the one missile and you got to line up perfect. There's other spots you hit the zippers right. It's just tons of strategy. It's like, have we ever before this done a racing game where it's like a boss? And then where the strategy is not just racing ahead and hitting all your turns. So it's all those other things. Then you've got the weapons and the boosts and the zippers and all these things that, yeah, they make this strategy that's not just race better than your opponent. So the boss fights are just a huge part of this game. Spoopy Plankton here says, it's better than Mario Kart in every conceivable metric, hands down. Plant that flag, Spoopy. We'll get into more of that as far as I can't say that this is just a better game than it's hard. Nostalgia. There's a difference between what would I say is this game better than Mario Kart? Like which game's better versus which game would I play right now versus which game would I play with a group of friends? Every time it's probably going to be a different answer. Halos117 says, in my opinion, Mario Kart is much more fun playing multiplayer than Diddy Kong Racing. Diddy Kong Racing destroys Mario Kart every other way, though. That's another take on the one player versus the multiplayer, and that's probably the strongest one right there, and probably the most accurate. Like Mario Kart is the multiplayer game. It's the randomness that's fun for me in Mario Kart. I like the random items. I like that kind of stuff. But yeah, the one player, every other aspect. You can't change cars in Mario Kart 64. I like the random items, but I like the upgrading and the kind of switching items as well. And there's a lot more to the tracks as far as this game's farther along. They were doing more with the 3D and more shortcuts. So that's the most common take on it, really, is that it's Diddy Kong Racing's better single player, Mario Kart's better multiplayer, and I agree. We got Hobo Joe 44 says, the funny thing is people always forget about Mickey's Speedway USA, which is also by Rare, uses the Donkey Kong Racing engine, and is a bit more of a mix of both DKR and Mario Kart 64. Random weapon boxes, but more emphasis on racing than combat. But it's a Disney licensed game, released late in the N64's life. It's worth a try for anyone who hasn't played it before and likes kart racers. I've never played that game. And just like we were saying with unrecognizable characters, it's like, well, crap, now is this Mickey game, which I've seen it. I can see the cover in my head. Is this better than any other kart racers? And I've never played it just because it's Disney characters. And I tend not to, well, I guess past a certain point. I guess it's just Mickey. I don't really like Mickey that much. I'll take Scrooge McDuck or give me Quackshot or something. But that just goes to show, too, I bet Mom would recognize all the Disney character rosters from Mickey's Speedway. But so does that make the game? I want to give that a try. We'll see this N64 kart racer I've never played. See what I think about it. We got Megatronics 2049 says, don't forget the magic codes for enabling all sorts of shenanigans. Joint venture for the 2-player adventure was essential in our house, and free for all, that's all max power-ups, was also a blast. And great words, shenanigans. That's what makes it fun. So it sounds like you were having some fun multiplayer. All max power-ups on like a battle mode would be pretty fun as well. Again, those don't really work for your like adventure mode. But good comment to know that people were out there having fun with their siblings and stuff. We got Pute Morte here says, you say it's ahead of its time, but did video games really evolve in its direction? I don't know any open world racing games with multiple vehicle types, bosses, and collectibles. A lot of Rare games were insanely creative and well done. I wish Nintendo bought them. Console gaming would be on another level now. And like we were saying earlier, it's that classic what if. And why? Why didn't you buy Rare, Nintendo? Think of all these games we could have. We could be on Conquer 7 by now. But yeah, the thing is there too, nothing really followed this game. Where is our racing adventure game? You got Mario Kart World, and I'll put a hot take right now that Mario Kart World sucks. Like, it's a fine game, but it's 2026. Last year it came out. Whatever it is, it's like you've got all these ideas that have been out for decades now, and the best you could come up with is a big open space with nothing to do in it. It's so... it's just, you missed the mark on that. And on top of that, add some characters. Where's the different vehicles? Where's the... Anyway, let's keep going. New 42 here says, I can still hear the boot up screen, and I still remember trying for hours or maybe days to beat that stupid octopus as a kid. He cheated, and I didn't know that heavier characters were basically optimal in hovercraft. Me neither. I learned that doing this research. I'm with you. But that sweet theme you were talking about, is it this one? Again, I really like where the beat drops there and it just picks up, and I just want to run around in circles like a child again. Phillies 1993 here says, not as good as Snowboard Kids. That's your only comment, and I threw that in there because shout out to Snowboard Kids. I haven't played that in forever. I was like big into 1080 when that came out, so shout out to 1080 as well. Last comment here, Captain Billis says, still remember my dad taking me to the store to pick up an N64. He asked me what game I'd like to get. It was a toss-up between Mario Kart and Diddy Kong Racing. Diddy Kong Racing won purely because of the funny chimp guy on the box. More years than I'd care to count later, and I'm still certain I made the right call. And good call for sure, Captain. You've earned that captain rank. And it's like always a tough call, but deciding between those two games based on their artwork. It's like you're just staring, there's both in your hands, and you just stare at them and hope that you don't screw up your weekend. Or even harder, if you're buying the game, that's like, this is going to be my next 6 months. I got to really think about this. It's judging a book by its cover to the max. But speaking of judging, let's see how I judge this game. Let's get into some awards here. Award number 1 for a racing game is going to have a Rainbow Road Award. We're talking favorite tracks, and I'm going to talk kind of the worlds themselves. Number 3, Dino Domain. What kid doesn't love dinosaurs? Like driving under a brontosaurus, flying next to a pterodactyl. Much love for all the dino levels in any game. Shout out, what can I think? Chuck Rock. There's a good dinosaur game for you. Go play some Chuck Rock. I played that on the Game Gear. Why did I play so many weird games on the Game Gear? We got next up Sherbert Island. The water mechanics are great. We've known this since Wave Race 64. The tropical environments look good. They feel good on the 64. And Nintendo in general goes hard with that kind of stuff. Look at Mario Sunshine and all this stuff down the road. But the winner for my Rainbow Road Award is going to be Future Funland. Maybe just because it's new and fresh to me. It's like I got DLC on Diddy Kong Racing all of a sudden. But I love the chaotic designs, the colors, the themes, the UFOs, the loop-de-loops. They all combine to like a unique 64 racing experience. Feel a little F-Zero in there too. A little F-Zero love going on. Award number 2, Batmobile Lost Its Wheels Award. That's going to go to my favorite vehicle. We got 3 of them. Coming in at number 3 is the car. It's your basic car or go-kart, however you look at it. The Mario Kart formula everybody wants to emulate. It's got the skid. It's got your boost. It's got your hit your boost right at the beginning of the match to get your boost when they're doing the countdown. It's got all that kart feeling. Number 2 is the plane. The plane's fun. I played Pilot Wings. It controls well. The added like trick moves like the barrel roll and the side turning, holding down your L and R buttons. And again, I'm a certified pilot according to Pilot Wings 64, and I approve of the plane. But the winner, it made me want this game as soon as I saw the commercials, as soon as I saw this vehicle. It's the hovercraft. This is what sold this game to me for some weird reason. Again, I loved Wave Race 64, and the hovercraft, it like bounces everywhere. It really feels like you're bouncing along on the water. It may control like crap, but I adore it. And the final award, the Soda Pop Pinsky Award. That's going to be the hardest boss fight. Number 3, Smokey the Dragon. Sometimes it's just man versus environment with the lavas and the fireballs and my arch nemesis, trees. But that fight, harder on the silver coin one, I feel like was tough. The plane and the hovercraft, all those, the silver coins on those two, I don't know if I'm just not good with whatever my hit box is on those versus the cart. Or maybe I think I have the slide really down on the go-kart. A lot of those are like, unlike Mario Kart, this slide with the LNR really like kicks you almost like 4 feet to the right or left, like real quick, so you can get your silver coins doing that. Anyway, what was I talking about? Number 2, Bubbler the Octopus. Remember when I said I love the hovercraft? Well, I hate this freaking boss fight. The first one, not bad. Silver coin's tough. The freaking Adventure 2 is pretty insane. But I like the boss fights. I like the themes. I like the water. Octopus it's going to be a good pick for a water boss fight. But the winner, it's going to be both fights. And it's going to be Whizpig. Good Lord, when that race starts and Whizpig is halfway across the map already. You can't even hit go yet. He just hauls ass down the road. Real tough, as the end game fight should be. And again, too hard for my little kid brain. Didn't have enough patience, but maybe that was me just using tip-top to drive with. Anyway, let's rate this thing. Gameplay, visuals, music, sound, and awesomeness. Does this game rule? Is it a rental, or should it be retired and we just stick with Mario Kart World? Gameplay, 8 out of 10. That's a fun multiplayer game. It's got that one-player story, the adventure, the replay value. Makes this like a solid addition to any collection. There's multiple ways to play, different vehicles to drive. You got the tough boss fights. Continues to keep DKR fresh in the minds of us gamers. If you haven't played it, it's not on Nintendo Online. You can emulate it. There's sites you can just go Google play Diddy Kong Racing. Pull up that site, give it a few minutes. It's fun. Visuals, 7 out of 10. It's hard on the 64. It looks great for a 64 game. And I can never judge that 64 art too hard because of the tech leap it took. But hell, I'm not sure any game on the 64, I would say, looks amazing. They're just a product of their time. But bonus points here for going with the 3D character models, and bonus points for just doing the dino stuff, keeping the themes fresh, not just your basic winter, lava, desert type of stuff going on. Music and sound, 8 out of 10. The jungle themes, the aquatic sounds, the boss battle music, and actual good voice acting. I mean, they just kind of say the same stuff over and over, but it's okay. Rare could put pennies in a can and shake them, and I'd still give it a good rating, just because they did Donkey Kong Country, and that music lives in my soul, people. Awesomeness, 8 out of 10. Diddy Kong holding his own in his self-titled game. It's got the rare humor, the Nintendo charm, and the intro of more beloved video game characters, cementing this game right behind Mario Kart, which is a hard shadow to drive out of. What's our final rating here? Does this game rule? 8 out of 10 bananas means this game is going to drift right into the rules slot. And it's hard to rank this one, but it benefits from that single-player action, making a game you can pick up today and fly solo. And a lot of us have been waiting patiently for DKR and Conker's Bad Fur Day to make its way to the Switch Online. We got everything else Rare has over there. And people were taking bets. Nobody thought that the GoldenEye was ever going to make it over there. But there it is. So can we get Conker? Can we get Diddy Kong on there? Show Diddy some love. And we'll keep the love going next week with another retro game for this dumb podcast. I have to satisfy the masses. I have tens of listeners out there, and we'll keep the nostalgia going just for you. But just like WizPig riding his fancy rocket, it's time for us to shoot out of here. Thanks again for listening to this week's show. I appreciate you guys. I hope everyone has a great week. One more time, hit me up at thatgamerules@gmail.com. I really don't care about follows and likes, people. AI and bots and everything are just taking over anyway. All I want to do is talk to humans about gaming memories. So just hit me up. Have a great week. Stay safe. Watch out for flying pigs. Send Dixie Kong my love. If you see her, she is my real favorite Kong. And thanks, everyone. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.